Welcome to Gloria's Gab Live. I am so excited today because I have two of the nicest people ever on my show. Um, I've got Neil Handler, and you're going to learn how he started a project, a nonprofit, after um, the Surfside collapse. And Patty Villa, who's been a longtime friend, and she actually introduced me to Neil. So I thank you both for coming today. Before we start, I need to thank our sponsors, South Florida PBS. I assume that you are both members of South Florida PBS, right?
Yes.
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 And they have a lot of stuff coming up this month. And unfortunately, I didn't bring my magazine for June, but I do have every month you get a magazine if you're a member. So if you're not a member, join. Great stuff happening all the time. And they also have a show. It's called allhealthtv.com, and you get lots of great medical advice. You can call in, do stuff, and you can do telemedicine. So it's really great. So anyway, so thank you, South Florida PBS. So let's start. Neil, I know
Yes, Gloria.
that I know that you were inspired to create the Phoenix
Life Project.
Yes. After your son was miraculously, if I can say that,
Yes.
rescued by our emergency workers. And so tell me about that and what prompted the whole thing. Give me the story.
Okay. So obviously on June 24th last summer, that building collapsed in Surfside. And at 2:15 in the morning, I got a call from my son who's asking me, where am I? And I'm like, well, what do you mean? Where are you? I'm sleeping. And he said, didn't you hear the building collapse? I'm like, what are you talking about? You know, and because I live 2 buildings away from where the collapse was.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
So he was there with his mom that night. And I said, where's mommy? He goes, I don't know. I said, where are you? He goes, I'm in the grass across the street. I said, don't move. And I went down. And that's when I got him. And, he suffered some injuries, and he actually broke 12 vertebrae in his back.
Oh, bless his heart.
And it's a miracle that he's even walking.
Wow.
And, so through his recovery process, one of the things I realized, I guess it was right around March, April, that once all the humanitarian support was gone and nobody's passing out bottles of water and helping people relocate, and the newsreels change stories and people go back to their lives the way it was. Mm-hmm. People like Jonah and myself and the first responders and the family members of the other victims, we're living with this every day.
For sure.
And I went to Jonah and I were asked to present the Medals of Valor to the guys that rescued him at the Miami-Dade Fire Rescue Medal Ceremony.
Okay.
And when I was there and I saw how they were looking at Jonah, and I looked in their eyes, and I don't know if it was just God working through me or what was going on, but I just sensed the pain in each one of these guys.
Oh, yeah.
And I knew in that moment that I had to do something. And I spoke to Jonah later that night, and I said, I really want to do something in memory of mommy and to help other people.
Yeah.
And I said, I want to start a charity. I want to raise as much money as we can to help as many people as we can get through the stuff that you're trying to get through now, because that's how we're going to heal. That's how we're going to get through this, is by helping others.
And I'm so glad that you recognize that. I know there's other people out doing great things, but the fact that PTSD, that I mean, I can't even imagine being there and rescuing people from the rubble, and what they had to go through has to be like going to war.
It is. I mean, even the psychologists, the doctors, everybody I spoke to about Jonah said that what he is living with internally within himself and his own nervous system is equivalent to a combat veteran who just came back from war.
Sure.
And for me, as a parent, it was, when the thunderstorm rolls in,
Yeah.
and that thunder happens, and it reminds him of the sound of that building coming down.
Oh,
For me
geez.
as a parent to see that fear, that paralyzing fear in his eyes, is something that it's the most powerless thing I've ever experienced in my life, because
Yeah.
there's nothing I could do.
Yeah.
There's nothing.
Yeah.
And I've been determined to actually find some treatment modality that's going to help him get through this.
Yeah.
Because the last thing I want from my kid is, him one day be in a board meeting somewhere in some building and somebody knocks a chair over and he hits the deck.
Yeah.
You know?
And
this is going to be with him for the rest of his life on so many different levels.
Yeah.
And
so, well, I love that that you're giving back the way you're giving back, and I think it's great therapy for you too, don't you?
For me, it's been my saving grace.
Yeah, I would think.
Because, for me, I became a single parent overnight, and, we lost Jonah's mom, Stacy. And, I remember when somebody asked me when that settlement came in, how I felt about all that money. And I said, you know what? I'd much rather have his mom calling me and telling me that I don't have enough sunblock on him and arguing with her about that than all the money in the world.
Of course.
Yeah. It's, for me, it's,
you can't replace
you just can't. I mean, what my son goes through, Mother's Day, her birthday was in March. All these things that will just constantly be reminders for him. Absolutely. Of what he went through and that loss.
Right. So now you've got an event coming up on June 25th.
Yes.
And this is your first of many, you tell me, because
well, everybody told me that I was really kind of out of my mind for trying to do something in such a short period of time, something of this magnitude.
Well, and they would be absolutely right.
But they say most people take a year. Most people take a year to plan this thing. And I formed the nonprofit in March, and it, at the end of March, and like by the third week in April, I said, we're going to have a gala, and we're going to invite 300 people, and it's going to be at the St. Regis in Bell Harbor, and we're going to raise as much money as we can. And then I did all the numbers and I backed into it, and I said, okay, so if there was 350 first responders on the pile, and there was 2,000 in the area for those 3 weeks, but
is that right?
350 Miami-Dade fire and rescue guys were on the pile for 3 weeks. And then you have the 98 families who lost people.
Right.
And you got the people who were in the building who got out and their entire lives were just vanished in a day.
In thin air. Yeah.
And, then you had, anyway, there was probably close to 1,000 or more people that really are suffering just from Surfside.
Yeah.
But
I think, that you're going to do this so quickly is crazy, but at the same time, it's still timely, and it keeps that in the forefront, which is a really great thing to do, to remind people that, those first responders, those people, everybody is still suffering. And just because it's not in the news doesn't mean it's gone away.
It doesn't.
Yeah.
Not for us, it doesn't. Like I said, a lot of people go back to their lives as it was and keep moving on. And for me, I live with it every day, every time it rains, every time, there's a noise in the building. My son, comes out, did you hear that? And,
geez.
It's not easy.
So,
but what I try and teach him is that we really need to, I tell him, I go, we can I'm trying to teach him that we can take something really bad and make it something positive out of it. And I hope that if nothing else, whether I accomplish my goals or not, that he can learn that lesson.
Oh yeah.
Because
that's one of the beauties of the thing that you're doing, is that you're taking a really awful tragedy and at least doing something positive that's going to help the entire community. And those first responders that were there, that's not the only thing. I'm sure they, there's things that they've been exposed to and whatever. So I love that you're giving back that way and kind of making something good happen.
Yeah.
Well, listen, out of an awful
that's
thing.
our tagline, bringing Serenity to Calamity.
Oh, Serenity to Calamity. I like that.
That's what we're trying
That's
to do.
great.
So
So I know you're helping out.
Yes.
So
Helping
she
out.
Oh,
is
yeah.
more than helping out.
I know she
Yes.
is.
She's
I know
been
she is.
invaluable to me.
Yes.
know.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Thank you.
So you and Aurelia are like helping this guy make this happen
Yes.
in short order.
No, and we also have another group of wonderful women. I mean, we have Leanne from Awesome Foundation.
Yes.
We have Anna Marguerite from Pathways,
Uh-huh.
who's the young lady,
Cynthia.
Cynthia
From USI.
from USI. Jackie just got on board, who's really involved in nonprofits.
Yeah.
So it seems like he always says to me that people are popping up at the right time. And
so-
I met Neil 2 months ago when Leanne brought me into this project and said, you need to come and get involved. And you
Oh, I
know,
see.
since you and I have been friends forever,
Yeah.
you know that I have a passion for helping nonprofits and helping and being supportive in the community. And especially right now in this moment, since I'm working for my psychiatrist in mental health.
Yeah.
So
this was kind of
Yeah, I keep
it was
You
no
know,
brain. Yeah,
yeah, it
I
was a
definitely
no-brainer.
had. I
Yeah.
definitely had to
I
get
keep
involved.
telling Patty that the reason that all this is coming together the way it is because God keeps putting the wind in the sails, and He keeps having people showing up with oars who are rowing the boat, and I'm just here trying to steer it as best I can. You know,
well, you are
I'm really
obviously a great leader.
I don't know.
I'm pretty impressed with you, Neil.
Thank you.
And
I don't always
so
see it myself.
so tell me about the people that are helping sponsor the gala.
Oh, so we have we actually just partnered with Neighbors for Neighbors, who had a nice chunk of money left over from their Surfside efforts, who
Oh,
pledged it
nice.
to the event and to helping first responders. The St. Regis actually has been really just unbelievable and absorbed, a good chunk of the costs and donated it to the cause.
To the cause, yeah.
Everything from our florists to the band to the entertainment.
Well, tell us about it.
We have
What do you have?
Baby Loris, who is a Cuban reggaeton performer, but trained in classical and jazz.
Mhm.
And he's actually composing a song for the event.
Oh, really?
And we're going to have a 12-piece jazz band there. And we're going to have Miami Community Choir is going to come and perform. And we have a good friend of Anna Margarita's and mine now, by the name of Najee Lee, who plays harmonica and can bring tears to your eyes when he plays.
Really?
I mean, it's that incredible.
Yeah.
And we're going to have
You were
some
telling me
unbelievable
about the
stuff
artist?
going on. Oh, yeah. And then I have the Wentworth Gallery, who is, he represents musicians who have become artists, like Paul Stanley from Kiss and Mickey Hart from the Grateful Dead and Rick Allen from Def Leppard. And they're all artists.
Right.
And we're going to do the Art of Rock and Roll pop-up art gallery at the event, where that artwork's going to be for sale, and up to 50% of the sales, not the proceeds of the sales, are going to go to the charity.
Right.
And that's really was an unbelievable partnership with them.
Great. Yeah.
Yeah.
What a great.
And all that artwork is actually listed on the website now.
Oh, yeah.
So
can
people don't
actually
have to
go the
wait
website.
to the gala to
Yeah.
purchase the artwork.
Yeah.
So that's really
terrific.
cool. So,
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a lot
So-
of really, really.
So do we have it up there?
The website is.
The website. Can you put the website up? What you want to tell us what it is, and he'll type it
It's
in there.
phoenixlifeproject.org.
Oh, that's easy.
Yeah.
Did you get that?
Yeah.
Good. Okay. So
And and if you go down on the homepage to the upcoming events, you see the gala there. If you click on that, it's a full PDF with our story, our goals by the numbers, the pop-up art gallery. Miami-Dade Fire and Rescue is also putting together for people, corporates, if they want to do team building or whatnot, Fire Ops Training 101
get out.
that we're
That's so
offering
cool.
for our sponsors and even individuals to purchase tickets to do that. And
Wow. Where would they do that?
I think it would be held at their training facility.
Oh, yeah?
And I'm not sure exactly where the location. I think it's in, you know what? I don't want to say where because I'm
No,
not
because
sure.
we don't know.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Yeah, that's the Art of Rock
Okay.
and
Oh,
Roll,
yeah,
the
so
Wentworth.
look at the Art of Rock and Roll.
Yeah.
That's great.
Very
Oh, my
cool. A lot of
goodness.
really great artists, really
Uh-huh.
great musicians,
Oh,
and their artwork is really unbelievable. I've seen
Yeah.
a lot of it. And yeah, it's going to be an unbelievable event.
So are those the pieces that are going to be up for sale?
If you
Or
scroll
there?
down a little further, then there's
Yeah.
all the pieces.
Okay.
There you go. Those are the ones that are for sale. So like
Oh,
these
okay.
first ones are Rick Allen. And if you keep
Yeah.
scrolling down, then you get to the other artists, Mickey Hart, Michael Corleone.
Cool.
Yeah. Rick Ocasek from the Cars.
Yeah.
Some very, very cool,
gosh.
fun stuff.
Great stuff.
That's
Yeah.
beautiful.
I mean, the goal of the gala really is to try and help people move through the pain and suffering and to learn how to, I mean, for me, I try and teach Jonah that we want to celebrate Stacy's life
Mhm. Sure.
and not be stuck in the morbid reflection of what happened,
Exactly.
you know, and I see a lot of people and family members stuck in that place. And, you know, we still grieve and we still have our sadness, but you know, for instance, on her birthday, we went out for dinner with her boyfriend and her best friend, and the four of us, Jonah, myself, and the two of them, sat around dinner and shared pictures on our phone of Stacy and videos and funny Stacy stories, and we laughed and we cried and like, but we celebrated life. We had a little cupcake with a birthday candle, and we all blew it out together.
At
And
some point, you just have to say, thank you, God, for the time we had with her.
yeah,
You know?
and I tell him all the time. I said, listen, as messed up as I am, and as messed up as your mom was at times, you got the best of both of us. And he really did. He really did. You
Oh, my
know.
goodness.
I think you should
So-
talk about how people are reaching out to you now. I mean, you and I have been
Yeah,
talking about how people,
been
because he started the
amazing.
project, people are really reaching out to him and searching for help. Because
Yeah.
like him and I have talked about, you know, mental health and what they've been through and just what we're going through in the world, right?
Right.
And all of us have trauma. And that's something
Yeah.
that we've discussed
Sure.
at a
So
very high
since we
level.
started being more public about it, which I was reluctant to in the beginning because of my own experiences with the media when this first happened, I, you know, Patty,
Yeah, they can be insensitive
Pat-
sometimes.
yes,
Yeah.
Patty and some others convinced me that the exposure for a nonprofit like this is something you really can't walk away from.
No, you
And-
can't because people want to help.
Right. So
we are
here
the
I am,
most
and
generous nation in the world.
you know, I realize that because you know, you know, when I put up the GoFundMe page for Jonah when this first happened, because I had no idea what my life was going to be like or my future, and it did almost $100,000 in 3 days, and
What?
it was all $5
amounts.
small
Yeah.
amounts, which means it was a lot of people, and it was from all over the country.
Yeah.
You know, globally, really.
Yeah, really? Yeah.
It was amazing. And, you know, so since we started coming out with this and, you know, publicizing what we're doing, people have been reaching out to me both from the mental health field, from, you know, the first responders, from the victims of the collapse. That's how we partnered with Neighbors for Neighbors.
Mhm.
People want to get involved, and it's been amazing. It's been an amazing, amazing journey.
Yeah.
It really has.
Well, and I love you.
Excuse me.
Our tagline today, calling it Healing Surfside.
Yeah.
Because that's kind of what it is.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
I mean, and the hope is
even
that,
participating with you and what you're doing is a healing process for a lot of people.
yeah.
You know, the more you can do that's positive, kind of takes some of the negative away. But I congratulate you on, you know, and having the vision to do something like this.
Yeah. And the hope is that this organization can grow and be sustainable enough to where, you know, if I was 2 years in, I'd be in Texas with those 19 families that lost those kids.
Oh, yeah.
You know, we'd be in California with firefighters who are fighting forest fires, and,
Yeah.
you know, a tornado that we ripped through a few weeks ago, some small town in the Midwest. And
Yeah.
I mean, that's the goal, you know, is to be there for catastrophes and disasters like this, to deal with the mental health side of that
Mhm.
after all the humanitarian support's gone, you know.
Right. And that's when it's needed the most. Yeah.
Yes.
For sure.
Yeah. Once you clean up, you know, it's like you got lost souls just trying to get by, making you know,
Yeah.
day to day. So, yeah. So there's a lot of ambition there to go well beyond.
I'm a go bigger guy.
I know you are. That's pretty obvious.
You
So
know?
before this, we were talking about what you were doing. He's going, oh yeah, so we're having another event in December, and then we're having a golf tournament. I go, well, hey,
Right.
I'm all about big events, so
Right.
you're going to be back a lot.
But I
I'm
think
here.
doing these events, I think is great because at the same time we're educating people that
Oh,
they have
no, for sure.
options for
Right.
mental health,
It's-
right?
It's all
That
about
that you could
awareness.
that you can have
Right.
TMS therapy, that you can have pathways. I mean, I know that's a topic for another show because that's really a
Right.
deep dive into options that people have besides
Yeah.
taking medication
right.
that are suffering from anxiety and depression.
Mhm.
That we need to educate people on because they just don't know that they have those options.
Right.
And that's
right.
what, Neil's trying to do. And that's what I'm trying to do with my psychiatrist.
Yeah, I know. So it's kind of cool that I had you both today because I said, oh, who better than to have
Right.
somebody from my psychiatrist come on board with them.
Yeah. It's
So,
funny
yeah.
because, when either Patty or even when you say it or when most people say my psychiatrist, I'm thinking, do you guys all have the same psychiatrist? It's like-
There's a really funny story behind that here.
I was talking to Michael and I kept saying, oh, my psychiatrist is going to be on the front cover of they were on the front cover of our magazine
Right.
just last
month.
issue.
Yeah.
So I kept talking about my psychiatrist. And so Michael says, oh, so Gloria's kind of opening up. I had no idea she had a psychiatrist. So for the longest time.
Right.
And finally, it like dawned on him, no, it's a client.
I thought it was a brilliant
I know.
name for a
Yes.
company.
I know,
Yeah.
but
That's
now,
awesome.
yes. So now they're everybody's psychiatrist.
Right.
So it kind of works. But
Yeah.
yeah.
So one of the things that we're going to do with hopefully all the money we raise, I mean, our goal is $3 million, right, for
Okay.
this event. And,
Go big, go home.
That's right.
yeah, I mean,
That's
listen,
right.
for me, it's really about establishing the right network of vetted modalities and trauma therapists. And, I don't really, I'm not a doctor. I'm not a psychiatrist. I'm not, someone who's a professional in the mental health field. But what I do want to do is I want to, partner with providers that are specific to these types of event who can treat the trauma from these kinds of events.
Right.
Whether it be pathways and neurofeedback, which is something that myself and Jonah has gone through and has been really, really helpful in quelling the anxiety and the PTSD. To a degree at this point, it's still there, more so for him because he was in the building in the collapse. I'm hoping that we can build a relationship
Yes,
with my psychiatrist. But whether it's acupuncture or, regular talk therapy, trauma therapy, neurofeedback,
TMS.
TMS.
Transcranial
Whatever-
magnetic
Because- 'cause
stimulation. And
everybody's
you've seen the
different.
machines in our
Yeah.
office.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because everybody's different and
Yeah.
not everybody's gonna,
Respond the
click
same
or
way.
respond to one kind of treatment. So I want to have options available for people. And I've been, it's not just about planning the gala for me. That's why I have Patty and Areli and a whole team
and the
of,
team. Mhm.
of wonderful Cuban women.
And one Puerto Rican
And
as of
one Puerto
one
Rican.
Puerto Rican as of last night.
But for me, I've been spending most of my time setting up a network and vetting therapists with the help of another professional who's been in the field for a long time
Wow.
and has experience in health management.
Do you need water?
I do.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hey,
Oh, good.
Mhm.
Can you get us water? Okay.
did
we're
we
gonna get you
pause
some
or
water.
something?
No.
Okay.
Yeah. He's going to go down the hall. and get some water.
Gloria, what I wanted to say in addition to what Neil is saying is, and Neil knows this story, after working for 6 years representing 5 South Florida hospitals
Yeah.
and going through COVID inside the hospital from the very beginning and seeing what I saw, I knew that mental health was going to be the next
Big thing.
the next big thing. And I
Definitely.
remember telling Neil a story that, I did 6 years. for working at these hospitals, and it was very fulfilling. But I knew driving home one day that I wanted to do something else and give back and get involved in something that I could help people.
Yeah.
And I was thinking of going back to school and becoming a therapist. And one day my psychiatrist just called me out of the blue. I didn't even know who they were. And I
Right.
started working for them.
Yeah.
And look at how all of this has transitioned, that
Yeah.
I've been able to learn a lot. I'm surrounded by, Dr. Ventry, Dr. Schwartz, 45 providers. I meet Neil. I mean, it was just,
Yeah.
it's just how everything has lined up.
Yeah. God works in
Thank you.
mysterious ways.
It does. The universe and God work in mysterious ways.
Yeah. So we've got a few minutes left. So
Yes.
let's talk about if somebody wants to go to your event, or is it already sold out because you have so many friends?
Well, I have a pretty big network, but
Yeah.
we've probably got 20, maybe 18 of the 30 tables sold in 2.5 weeks since
Get
we
out.
actually started
Yeah.
doing
How
that.
much, okay, so how much are these tables selling for?
So a table is $7,500.
Yeah.
And that's for 10 people, but you only get to bring 8 guests because 2 of those seats are for first responders.
Oh my gosh, what a great idea.
So we're gonna have 2 first responders at every table, or maybe
Oh.
one first responder and a spouse.
Oh, perfect.
So yeah, because for
I
me,
love
I
that.
really want to connect the
And do you
people
have
who
a
are
lottery for the
contributing.
first responders. How do you decide which ones you're gonna?
I'm letting those who want to come first serve.
Oh, it's gonna
Yeah,
be just
I
okay.
mean-
We've got so many slots, first come, first serve,
Right.
kind of thing. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, there's
Yeah.
certain ones that I am personally involved with because
Yeah.
of how
They've got it.
my
They've got it
relationship with
locked
them.
in.
Yes, if they choose to participate, they can
Right.
be there.
Oh, that's nice though.
Yeah.
So
So
people can go to your website and buy tickets.
yep, you
and
can
then
buy
check
tickets
out-
on the website. You can dial the 877 number. I mean, everything happens. I mean, God's been so present in every process here. The phone number that I got was 624-8777, which
No
is
way.
the address of the building and the date.
Wow,
Yeah,
that's
very
nuts.
cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that is.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, there's nothing that happens by coincidence in life. And,
Yeah.
I knew my son was going to be okay when I had to break the news to him that his mom didn't make it.
Yeah.
And after he cried for a bit, he looked at me and he goes, everything happens for a reason, right, Dad? And in that moment, I knew
I get a
that
smart
he
kid.
gets it and that he's
Yeah.
going to be okay.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And I told him, I said, babe, sometimes we don't know what that reason is. And sometimes we know later in life and sometimes we never know. But what happens?
Did you take the water too soon? Well, actually, we've come to a close.
Okay.
I've got 2 minutes left, so
Okay.
you could
what
have
I
another
was
sip of water.
what I was saying to him is that
Yeah.
what happens to you is either gonna scar you and cripple you for life, or it's gonna make you stronger. And it's how we deal with this that's gonna determine that.
Absolutely.
So.
Yeah. So, well, congratulations on really coming up with such a wonderful way to deal with this trauma and to help other people. I feel very blessed and honored that you came and you were on my show.
Thank
you.
And thank you for introducing me to
You're
Neil
welcome.
because
You're welcome.
yeah, I hope to see you around a lot
Yes,
Yeah.
you will.
with
We'll
all
go-
these different
we'll go to-
events you're going to do.
We'll go to another Marlins game.
So I've got to thank you again for coming. Once again, thank you, South Florida PBS, for sponsoring our show and allowing us the opportunity to share great works like Neil is doing for our community and for first responders and to help with the healing process at Surfside. So until next week, have a good week and stay safe and be kind.